So the top 5 things to watch next week. But before we do, Kev, let's quickly have a rundown of what happened last week and just kind of see what's going on here. So the European PMIs starting to feel like there's some bottoming going on, no?
Well, there's so much pessimism built into the European economy. Like, tell me anybody that thinks that the Europe's going to do better than expected, and you can count them on one hand. It's even actually it's probably even less than the amount of guys that think there's going to be no cuts this year in the FOMC. So the reality was it was a pretty low bar for the economy to hop over, and it did because why don't you pull up the sheet that you have that shows all the different actual numbers, and they did it slightly better than expected.
Yeah, they came in, but the question is, okay, look, it's while they did come in better than expected, right? Oh, here we go. So while they did come in better than expected, like especially the French flash services and the manufacturing PMIs came in well above 50. I mean, we still have German manufacturing PMI down to 45, still nowhere near being north of 50. I mean, it did take a point higher.
Right. I'm not going to go and get bullish, but the reality is trading is all about what's priced in. So it doesn't matter. You can't.
It's rate of change as well, and like the second derivative. And so the question is, when is it troughing? And that's a good question. Are we seeing European numbers starting to trough? It's something we're going to be watching in the coming weeks and months, right?
Right.
So let's move on. Lumber and home builders. The lumber doesn't seem to quit.
Yeah,
look at that chart.
It is running like it stole something. It's one of the best charts. I think what percentage is that? It's basically
over 25%. It went from 300 to over 400. Yeah. Like, I mean, trough to peak, we're talking 44%.
And that's our good friend Aiden was actually. Remember, our buddy Aiden was always saying that you should buy the tree stocks and buy lumber. I love it.
Yeah, but I mean, but this move is far from over if this is a real breakout, right? Like, I mean, when lumber runs, like, look at that run lumber had back in 2016 and 17, right? Like, when it broke out, it just ran for two years straight, right? And so the question that I'm asking you is, it's been a great 2 weeks, but do you think this is a bigger turnaround?
Yes, is the answer.
Okay.
I think that was the bottom.
But you're bullish on all commodities in general, right?
I'm bullish on all commodities, but if I had to pick one that I like, one of the best, it would be lumber, because I think we're going to have a rip-roaring U.S. housing kind of boom, and I know that's very unconsensus, and like I know.
Surprisingly, though, home builder stocks didn't get too much of a Fed bounce.
No, because I think home builder stocks are actually trading with the bonds, and the bonds had a bad couple of days this last couple. So I think that's right now what's happening there.
All right. Well, let's talk about that small cap divergence continuing, because even though everything got a bit of a pop on the Fed, right? I don't think there's been any real convergence of this divergence. I'm just pulling up
convergence of the divergence.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get all MACD on you here, but no, just but the overall, you can see here, I mean, it did strengthen, but we're nowhere near clearing those February and May highs.
Oh, God.
And we're nowhere
from
near.
You all the time. Yeah, but you know what? Let's face it. You came out all bearish on the small caps and talking about how they're so bad, and the reality is they've had a great little run. Like, they're not going to happen. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight.
Oh my God! You know what? Is there a bet here?
No, I don't. Well, what do you want? I don't know. Sure,
they're dog shit, and they're going to stay dog shit. Is my bet.
Okay, here we go. We got a bet going on. Okay, I think small caps beat. Am I allowed to do NASDAQ, or do I have to do S&P?
No, you could do NASDAQ. So you think small caps outperform NASDAQ? I like that bet.
Okay, here we go. Small caps.
What are we doing, Burger or Duke and Duke?
No, let's do Burger. And let's do it for, till the end of the summer?
Sure. Let's do a third quarter bet at the end of third quarter.
So at the end of third quarter, what is that? I'm not very smart. So is that September 30th?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
You're not really. Then the Q3 that is always Q3. All right.
Okay.
Anyway, so we got a bet going. Small caps continue. Small caps continue.
Yeah, so small caps outperform NASDAQ. September 30th kind of end from here today. Okay,
Yeah.
you're done.
Yeah.
Sold.
All right.
Oh my
So
God,
we're
that
going.
burger's going to taste so good.
All right. So the Aussie dollar. All right. Well, I mean, all these currencies have bounced because that U.S. dollar made that move to the downside. But on a relative basis, this has been an incredibly weak rally from the Aussie.
Yeah.
Like if you compare it to, let's say, the euro making this big punch higher, or the yen, which we'll talk about in a little
or
bit,
if you
or
compare it
even
to
the
Canadian dollar.
the
like,
Canadian dollar ripping. Like,
Yeah.
look how weak the Aussie dollar's been. I mean, it has bounced, but that's because I think the intermarkets, but it's still the weakest cross currency at this stage.
Yeah. I am
Of
so
the developed
bearish on
nations.
Australia. I am Grant Williams bearish. I think we're headed a lot lower.
All right, and let's finally FOMC statement. I mean, he didn't disappoint on his dovishness, right?
Yeah. Well, to be truthful, Patrick, I, and Tony were drinking a fair amount at the time of the announcement, so we really didn't look at it very closely, did we?
Well, we failed to be paying attention properly.
You know what, though? I actually wasn't that upset about it because I don't know about you, but I never trade FOMC announcements very well. They're hard.
Well, that's why you leave it to John Netto.
That's right. That's right.
No, but John, that he developed a system for doing it. That's where he finds his edge.
Yeah.
We play. You play more of the bigger macro moves, right? And so that initial noise that comes in the first reaction, and rightfully so. Actually, the market almost didn't move at all in the first couple hours. It was really the overnight session where everything happened.
What was interesting was the fact that bonds went bid, and then there was another move higher on bonds after, like, at 6 o'clock when Asia came in.
Yeah.
And that was actually ended up being the high, I believe.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about the 2-year yield in just a moment when we get
we'll
to
talk about the 10-year yield at 2%. But anyways, have another beer, Patrick. Let's go on.
All right, let's go on. Anyway, that's your review. So let's go on to the top 5 things to watch next week. So, Kev, what's number 5?
Okay, OPEC meetings, Middle East escalation. As I've said numerous times, I think that this is actually something to watch. I'm more worried about Iran than I am about China in terms of wars. I think that it's interesting to see what happened with Trump and the fact that he did not go and retaliate. There's some smart people who are saying, he stood up to the neocons and he didn't respond, and that's actually a positive. Maybe so, but I actually worry that Iran's going to take it as a sign of weakness and that the escalation is going to continue. I'm actually very concerned that this will continue until something bigger is triggered. And I think if you were looking to hedge your portfolio, I still contend I would rather own kind of out-of-the-money crude oil calls than I would rather own S&P puts.
Well, you know what? If I was to offer you my alternative opinion to that, which is I honestly think that Trump has a much bigger plan, and he's going to ensure that the military is completely prepared, and he's going to keep it completely secret. And there's no way that he's going to allow just a little drone drop to provoke him into moving his entire master plan up.
He's like a grand chess master, is he, Patrick?
I know. I honestly think that there's a bigger plan as to what's happening, and they're not going to get provoked by a downing of a drone to accelerate something.
Okay, so Patrick, you know what? I don't like getting into discussions about what's right or whatever, and I think too often, too many people in the markets end up talking about what should be instead of what is. And maybe you're right, I don't know, but I do believe that the market is underappreciating the possibility of the Mideast getting worse from here, not better.
What's the price of oil if there's a war?
Well, I already said it. I think that the chance of $100 is easy.
Really?
Yeah.
100. A doubling of oil.
Yeah. I think
actually we haven't talked about it yet with Tavi. We'll talk about your gold targets in just in a bit. So you are like uber bullish commodities.
No, well, I am uber
bullish. I mean, you're uber. Oh, come on, you lumber, gold, oil. Like you basically are I haven't heard you say one bearish thing about which commodity. Nothing. You're like you have so much corn up your wazoo that like what are you bearish a single commodity? You're not. You're bullish everything, aren't you?
Well, do you consider bonds a commodity?
No, I'm talking about
just kidding.
commodities.
Yeah, no, I have a hard time disliking any commodity.
Well, they are cheap. You know, if you're a value guy, you've got one thing going for you is that they're all dirt cheap. Well, listen, I'm long a bunch of commodities, so I'm not going to necessarily try to take the other side of it. But you know, for me, oil's all about 60. If we're clearing 60 on geopolitical news, then I'll totally see your view. But you know,
so
what?
if it goes higher, you'll buy it. If it goes lower, you'll sell it.
Oh, Jesus,
regular
no.
stuff. Number 4. Let's go on to number 4.
I'm not just going to take one. I'm not just going to take one uptick and suddenly flip from being short to long just because of one day.
Oil is going to go higher. We're going to be a lot higher.
So Kev, I want to talk about the Japanese yen. And you on our show back in November, December, January sometime. I don't know what day did that happen. It was like the first week of January, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'll get it the exact date. January 4th. January 4th.
Yeah, it was like right the first week of thing, and then we had this monstrous uptick. Let me flip this upside down.
Oh my God!
Gonna flip.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! Hold on a second. Yeah. Let me just So that way, all the
for everyone that's listening at home, Patrick insists on putting currencies in the wrong way so that nobody knows what.
Not the wrong way. I always put the base currency as the foreign currency. And I cross it against the U.S. dollar. That way, you can look at each currency rather than playing this silly game forex traders do, flipping their crosses and base currencies back and forth, making it as confusing as fuck.
Yeah.
Right. Like.
So listen.
Anyway.
So just go on. So we had this bad
tick,
quote unquote bad tick, and I think at the time we had our good friend Brent Johnson on our show. Did we not? And both Brent and you laughed at me.
I did laugh at you.
Yeah, you did. And because what did I say? I said there's no such thing as a bad tick, and you said, "Are you telling me that the yen is going to go back down to 105?" And I said, "Damn right, I'm telling you that. There's no such thing as a bad tick." And sure enough, we're now at 107. We're 2, handles away.
We're not at 105 yet, buddy.
Yeah,
so don't start counting your. Don't do your victory lap just yet.
I know. I'm waiting for Brent to call me up and say I was right as well, but I don't know how long that'll be. Because not only that, I haven't got a call from Brent about the fact that our basketball team won either. So I'll wait for 105 on the yen, and then I'll hit him up for both.
Yeah, the Raptors did. But you know what? It's amazing to hear all the stories from San Fran, all the people saying they didn't lose to Toronto, they lost to injuries.
God.
It's
bullshit.
Anyway, let's not get getting into
that's worse than talking about Trump. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So bottom line, you still think we're going to 105? Yes or no?
There's no such thing as a bad tick. That's all I'll say.
Okay. So now the second question is, when it gets to 105, are you a buyer of the dollar?
I don't know. We'll see when we get there. I'm not as bearish on the yen as the rest of you guys. You guys all think that the yen has to go down and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I love the yen. I actually like the Japanese. Of course, Patrick, we're on the other side of each other's trade. But I don't think the yen is some disaster waiting to happen, and that we're gonna, go into a hyperinflation and it's the end of the world. God. You and Kyle Bass can keep shorting the yen, and I'll be on the other side.
All right, sold to you. All right, so number 3, Kev.
Okay, so listen, I actually went and tweeted out the fact that I succumbed to my bet. Remember our bet?
Yeah.
That we were going to bet whether the 10-year Treasury yield would go to 2%. And I gave in. And I said, it looks like Pat, it hit it. And I was reminded by one of my good friends on Twitter, Carl, that only closing kind of prices count. And that I'm still good. That we haven't closed below 2.
You know what? That's fine. We have this trade isn't over, and I'm perfectly fine with this because I look, we're oversold.
Yeah.
Like we're
The reason.
overbought
Okay,
on the
one
bond.
second
There's
before
gonna
I
be
want to.
there's gonna be a
I want to interrupt
retrace.
here because the reason you're perfectly fine with it is because Patrick thought for the longest time, he kept telling me it was a stake bet. Sure enough, this was kind of like a couple of months after yields were going lower. All of a sudden, it's a stake bet. And then we had our.
I was gonna go wagyu on your candy ass, and
It turns out it's only a Duke and Duke, which is just $1, and which is really funny. So now all of a sudden he's like,
it's
"Oh,
not
that's
even a burger. It's not even a burger. It's $1.
You know what?
Jesus
Personally,
Christ.
I'm actually more like Duke and Dukes mean a lot to me. So I have I don't want to lose a Duke and Duke either. The question is it a closing level or not? Am I still good or am I like you tell me? Did you win the bet? I'm willing to concede it if you want to concede it, and I'm willing to let it run.
No, I'm gonna win this fair and square because I don't think we're stopping at 2%. I think we're going below. It's just a matter of time. We're gonna, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if we saw 2.25 in the next month. There's gonna be a retrace. There's gonna be a bounce on this, but I'm gonna win this bet clean. I don't need to win by a hair. I'm gonna win this bet very clean. So I'm going to give this to you. I'm telling you right now, I honestly think we're going to 2.25 very shortly, but
Okay.
it's only going to be an oversold condition that is just offering a bounce or overbought on bonds. But I'm going to be buying the dip. I'm going to buy the dip on the bond market. It's this simple. You're going to lose.
This is awesome. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Your confidence is actually very heartening to me.
All right, financials number 2.
Okay.
All right.
So
I want to talk. No, I want to talk about this.
Oh,
right?
I'm sorry. I'm supposed to shut up.
No.
Okay,
Yeah,
go.
no. Yeah, you're supposed to shut up now.
Okay.
So the financials are just. It's almost as bad as the Russell. They have just not begun, and I'm talking the large caps here because the small caps, the KRE, sorry, no, the regional, sorry, have been even worse. Like,
Yeah, they
look
are
at-
ugly. I'm not going to defend the regionals. They look like shit. But you do what you want to do here on the XLF, and then I'm going to get a
all
shot
I'm
at it.
saying, no, but listen, I'm actually not making a market call here. I am just asking the question is, can you have your little kumbaya melt-up session that you think that is super bullish on this whole stock market without the financials participating? I mean, they are, in my mind, one of those kind of beta 1 core parts of the financial system that need to be participating for us to have a big rally. I mean, do you really think that, like, A, are you still super bullish? And 2, do you think the financials run with it?
Okay, first of all,
I'm
it's not going to be kumbaya. It's going to be like twist and shout kind of crazy.
No, it's going to be twist and shout crazy. Oh
I
my
don't
God.
know. I'm trying to think of a crazy thing. I couldn't think of anything. little pathetic, I know. Well, it's just, I don't know. Helter Skelter, I'm picking Beatles songs over and over again. I'm giving.
All right.
Anyways, so
anyway.
listen, XLF, let's pull this up because I'm shocked that you as a technician are telling me that this is so ugly looking. To me, and I am no master of the dark arts. Like, I do not know this. I do not know this stuff. But it looks to me like we cleared the previous, like, overhead resistance
What
at
what are you
26
talking
and a
about?
half. 26 and a half. Draw this line here, the previous highs from February and March.
This one here?
No. What over here in February and March, buddy? That's like May.
Okay. Yeah. Well, these highs.
There you go. Yeah. So it looks to me like we cleared that. We're trading
Right.
above it. We've come back down. We tested it. And then we had a big up day. Off to the races, baby. I don't know. I don't have a clue. I don't know. You guys with your dark arts.
you know
like,
what?
I don't know. I think we're headed higher, man. Like, that's it. I don't
All
care
right,
what
all
you're
right.
saying.
You heard it right here. Buy financials because Kevin said so. All right. So
Okay.
number 1.
G20 meetings.
G20. Yeah. So, I mean, there was a lot of people that are saying there's 2 things. The Fed, whether the Fed was going to be dovish, and 2, whether or not there was going to be progress in trade deal talks at the G20. And, I don't think anything gets done.
Really? You think
I don't
nothing?
think so.
No?
Nothing. I'll tell you why. This is just my humble opinion. But
Not so
Xi
humble
has
usually, buddy.
yeah, absolutely. Xi has no incentive to help Trump out unless Trump is willing to cave. Like what? Why the hell would at this stage? It's Trump that needs a deal more than Xi.
Oh my God! You know how many people are gonna email you and like Patrick Ceresna, Big Picture Trading or whatever it is, your email. I don't want to hear it. Like you're gonna get a lot of hate mail for that, buddy.
You think so?
Yeah,
You think so?
yeah. Everyone's telling.
But am I
you.
wrong? Am I wrong?
I actually don't think it matters to the market as much as everyone else thinks it does. And I don't know. Who
By the
needs-
way, I appreciate you giving my email out to
Yeah,
everyone.
I think I got
for,
it wrong
for the
anyways.
hate mail.
I think I got it wrong anyways. No, I don't know, man. Like I'm kind of torn. A little part of me says that as much as you're arguing that Trump needs a deal more than Xi Power or whatever, Xi Power,
Xi Jinping.
Xi Jinping.
Oh my God!
So you think he needs
That's
a deal
awful.
more, and so you think Trump's going to roll over?
No,
Okay,
I don't think I don't think that anything gets done.
Oh, you're the
I don't-
opposite. You think
Oh,
that Xi Jinping is going to say, screw you
nothing's
guys.
coming
like-
out of the G20.
Yeah, I
Not-
think. Okay, this is what I think. I think they're going to somehow come up with a very watered down deal that somehow doesn't really accomplish much, but gets them to both able to say that they did something. That's my call.
Well, if that's the case, S&P's north of 3,000.
Wow,
If you're right.
that's consistent with my views.
Okay. Well, I'm not so optimistic, so I'll take the other side of your deal. Okay. All right. So anyway, that is the top 5 things. We'll see. That's we're obviously positioning slightly different on this, but we'll see how it plays out. So anyway.